Dude, what's up? The preacher. So I'm up here outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right? And we was probably can't see it from way back there, but we was back there. I parked in the back, and about five of us back there just chit chatting about stuff. I was checking out my truck. I try to do a deep dive in my truck. Like every 2 weeks, really look at it. I'm talking about from bumper to bumper, right? So I found a couple issues that I got to get addressed. They all small issues, but my truck probably be in the shop all day addressing all those little small issues, right? So I'm out there, and then so they was chit-chatting with me and things like that. Next me, is something wrong? Because you know how long I was looking at my truck. And I just was trying to tell them. I said, well, no, ain't nothing wrong. I'm just doing a deep dive into my my truck. I like to look at everything. Oh, you pre-tripping? I said, no, I'm not pre-tripping. I'm checking out my truck. It's a difference, right? It's a totally different. And I always try to say, when people is going and they finna go look at a truck, they talking, well, I'm finna pre-trip the hell out of the truck. I'm like, no, you don't need to pre-trip it. You need to check that truck out. Pre-tripping, you just going over stuff you didn't learn in school, just going over stuff. But when you checking your truck out, you really checking your truck out. Like I got a weight that I put on the fuel pedal, right? So that way it's raising up the RPMs real heavily. So that way I can look at everything. And I can check for all my hoses and make sure all the hoses and stuff is tight. I can check for any leaks and things like that. Reason why I want to do a deep dive in my truck is because about every 2-3 days, somewhere around there, I have to put about 2 cups of coolant in. I know it's hot out here, man, but you shouldn't be putting in like 2 cups of coolant every 2 days, right? So basically I'm averaging a cup of coolant every single day. So that lets me to know the coolant is going somewhere. So you got to check out everything where the coolant could go, all your coolant lines. That means in your engine and going up underneath your cab, because you got your coolant line for your heat core. You got another coolant line that sits behind your driver's seat that goes back there. It don't go to your driver's seat. It goes to something back there. I'm not sure what it goes to. I don't know. I ain't a decent mechanic like that, but I know it's a coolant line because I'm following all the lines. So you always start off. I learned this way back when my dad used to fix these semi trucks and things like this when he had a trucking company. You start at one end on all your hoses. Start at the beginning and you follow that all the way to where it connects to again, right? So if you just follow your radiator and follow all those hoses that leads from your radiator, it goes somewhere. So I got a leak somewhere, and I wind up finding a leak, and it's a small leak, but I want to address it before it becomes a big leak. Last thing you want to do is when you're going down these mountains and up these mountains, you blow a coolant line and you blow all your coolant, and now you can't keep no coolant, right? So we just going over all that kind of stuff, and then one of the guys, he was training the guy. It's off this yellow truck. I forgot the name of the company that they were saying, but he's training one guy. So the guy was like, hey, can you go over like what you're doing with me? That he's new, and he just want to do a little extra work. So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I'm just going through everything. Then I showed him on my fuel rail that attaches to the outside of your top block, that goes into your cylinders where your injectors and stuff fit. Well, on my cylinder 1, it's a little wet around those. So I said, okay, that's another thing I got to get addressed. So I'm just going over everything, and then I look underneath and I check out my leaf springs, and then I see when I'm checking out my leaf springs, I look at my oil pan and I notice that I have a little oil leak up under there. Now I don't know if it's the gasket that's leaking or it could be the bolts that hold it need to be tightened up. They could have got loose or anything like that. So that's something else I want to get addressed because I got to get a PM done on my truck. So I'm like, okay, while I'm taking my truck to the shop to get a PM, I'm gonna go ahead and just have them look at all that particular stuff. If it's a cooler line, they can go ahead and change the cooler line. If it needs more seals on the fuel line that goes into the injectors, they can do that. And then the guy was like, man, so you got to do all this? I'm like, well, yeah, you have to do all this. He said, well, my trainer ain't showed me none of this. I said, most trainers are not going to show you all that. They're going to show you what you need to know. And then it takes you looking at extra stuff besides the stuff that's on the paper for a pre-trip. I said, and then I own my truck. I don't own it, making payments on it, but it's still my truck and I'm responsible for it. So I'm going to look at it a lot harder than a regular employee will look at it, because I don't want to be broken down nowhere. If I can get it to a shop where I can get it taken care of and I don't have to worry about a breakdown issue or something like that, or getting it fixed out down the road where it's going to cost a lot more money, I'd rather address it now. I just learned that from owning my own truck, Karen, and constantly looking at that and trying to make sure I don't break down on the side of the road. I broke down on the side of the road, once, twice I broke down. One, I was able to go to the auto parts store and I had to, I fixed it myself. I do know a little something, but I don't know everything. And then the other time I had to get a tow because my transmission, so that was 3 times. One, when my transmission had broke and I had to get it towed. And then the other time when my bell housing that attached to my transmission had exploded and I had to get it towed. So I had those particular stuff I do, and I'm just telling the dude all this particular stuff. And then he said, well, I want to be getting me a truck too. And I was like, well, good, And he said, if I was him, would I get a truck? I said, absolutely not. He go, well, why not? This company, they got a good lease program, so after 3 months, I can lease. I said, I wouldn't do it. He said, why? I said, because you don't know what you're doing. A lot of people jump inside these leases and they don't even know what to look for. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know how they're going to be getting paid. They don't know how they're going to be running. You don't even know how to run. You still don't know nothing about the truck, right? So why would you go out and get a truck and now you got to do these lease payments? Then if you don't got a full maintenance lease, now you're going to be responsible for every time this truck breaks down. You don't even know how to look at it. I'm like, what is your hurry about trying to get up here and become a lease operator? What is your hurry? With more money? I said, no, it's not more money. It's more money when you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it's the same amount of money if you was a company driver or maybe even less. Why? Because you don't know what you're doing. First, you got to learn what you're doing. You just can't be saying, oh, is it a good time to get a truck? Is it a good time to get a truck? Well, I'm thinking about getting a truck. Well, do you know what you need to know in order to survive out here? All right. We talk about rates, right? Are the rates down? Yeah. Rates are down. But guess what? When I got out here, stuff like that, the average was $205, $210 a mile. So, yeah, we had a couple good years where you was averaging about $240, $245, $250, $260. Okay, but the average is anywhere from $198 to about $230 is the average, right? So you have to know what you're doing. And then, not only that, when it was more freight out here to choose from, you can get those nice solid rates all the time. But because there's more trucks out here than there is freight out here, these brokers are sticking to their guns. Can you still get over $2 a mile? Yes, I have. I haven't gotten it consistently. No, I haven't. But my average for the week, by the end of the week, is over $2 a mile. But every load is not $2 a mile. My weekend loads is what put my average over the $2 a mile for the week. It's my weekend load. The loads during the course of the week, not so much. I do 194, 198, 196. Then on the weekend, I hit one for like 228, 230. So now my average at the end of the week is over $2 a mile. about around 2.7, 2.08, between 2.10, because the weekend loads pay a little bit more where I go. Now, where I go, I don't know where you go, but where I go, they pay more, right? So it's all about, you have to know where to run out here. When you just getting out here, you don't know. And then you don't even know when your dispatcher is sending you a load, you're not even recognizing what they are doing. And they can be giving you a load that's going to go into a bad area. Now all of a sudden, you in a bad area, and now you in a bad area, and now you won't have no choice but to get a bad load. And listen, it's a difference between getting a bad load and getting a bad load that's going to put you inside of a bad situation. Okay? I'm from Florida, so when I get come out of Florida, I come out of Florida with low rates, right? I got a load Friday out of Florida that brought me up here to Pittsburgh. Okay, now that only paid me $1.78 a mile out of Florida. Now, people who know Florida, they know that, okay, that's respectable coming out of Florida. It's a good no, but it's respectable, because you can find up getting loads out of Florida that paying like $1.20, $1.25 a mile. Okay, but I work with the same brokers all the time, so I'm getting a little better rate coming out, right? So that's what I'm looking at. So for me, it's a little bit different, but you're just starting out, it may not be like that for you. You know, you got to build relationships in this game. Every trucker out here that been booking their own loads for a while know, when you start using the same brokers all the time, you can get a better rate, because they know that they can count on you getting the load there. They're willing to give you a little bit more money. Keep the relationship going. It's give take. Some of the brokers I use, some areas he'll give me a better rate. Some areas he can't give me a better rate, because it is what it is in that particular area. It's a win-lose. That's why I say you can get a bad load and go to another bad area. It can deliver at late times, and it costs you not to be able to get another load out that area, so you lose a whole nother day. Or you can get a bad load that's going to take you to a good area and it's a next day delivery, early morning delivery, like 8 o'clock in the morning delivery. It's going to take you in a good area, and that load in that area, out of that area, is going to pay you real good. So you can have a bad load, or you can have a bad load going to put you in a worse situation. And that's what the experience come in at. It really does. It comes. When I first got in this game, I got with two of my friends that I grew up with that been trucking since they was 18 years old. It was in their blood. Just like my dad was in it, their dad was in it, had a trucking company as well. They helped me out a lot. You know, sometimes you got to get with some people who know some things that's going to be able to help you out. If you get inside this business and you don't have somebody that's going to help you out, mentor you, coach you, and willing to work with you and show you some things, then I would tell you, no, do not go out and get yourself a lease truck, because you don't know what you're doing. Wait till you know what you're doing. So that way, if you do a lease, you're doing a lease to conquer the lease and not doing the lease to fail at the lease. So many people jump inside these here leases. And I tell y'all all the time, why you jumping inside of a lease and you don't have no money? Because you can get the truck with no money down. You don't have no money down, how you supposed to pay for tire blowouts? So now the company would pay for it, yeah, but now you in the negative to the company. So you already start off in a bad situation. Already. You don't have no money, but you trying to be a lease operator. That's the most idiotic thing I ever hear from people and see. I have seen it plenty of times. You getting a lease and you don't have no money. You barely have money to eat out here with, but you getting a lease truck. That because it's zero down. Walk away lease. Oh, if it don't work, I'm just gonna walk away. Yeah, but you still don't got no money, and you don't got no money coming in. Ask yourself the question, why I don't have no money getting inside this lease? So who's bad with money? Somebody got to be bad with money. And a lot of times we like to point fingers at other people, but remember, when you point your finger at somebody, you got two other fingers pointing right back at you. You actually got three that point right back at you if you point your finger at somebody, okay? So some of y'all have that pinky open because you know y'all be dipping in that candy sometimes. But I told this guy all these kind of things, and I hope I changed his mind. I really do hope I change his mind about getting inside of trucking. Don't get inside of trucking to lease and become a lease operator if you do not know what you are doing. Take the time, get yourself a mentor. If you're gonna do it, all right? If you're gonna do it, make sure you have a mentor on board with you that's gonna help you throughout the process and gonna help you make some good decisions. Okay? Make sure you do that, because like I said, your dispatcher can give you a bad load, but if it's going to take you to a good area where it would make up for it, then the load ain't that bad. It's just a bad load when you're looking at it. But if you don't know, you don't know. All right, I'll holler at y'all later.